Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Thursday edition of Chart Request Live. I am Steve Straz, the Director of Research at All Star Charts, here with my esteemed co-host, Patrick Dunawilla of the Chart Report. What's up, Pat?
How you doing?
This show is designed for you guys, so come on, get in the chat, talk to us. Pat's on the emails. Bring your tickers, bring your chart requests, and let's talk about it. Do we start with the short-term tops, Pat? Just do a quick.
Sure. What do you want to start with? And then we'll get to Wavies because he got his right through the email. You guys know that's the best way for us to get to these tickers in the show. So
I'm saying before jumping in, do we just touch on these short-term tops that everybody's talking about? I saw like five tops.
Sure. Let's see what you're talking about.
NASDAQ right here. Here's the Qs, right? You look at the S&P, it's more or less already gone. We saw a lot of this, right, Pat? You're all over Twitter. Didn't we see a lot of this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This, right? Spooky stuff. But are they repairing the damage? Are they getting in here and reversing it?
I mean, right there, that one already broke its trend line, but you look at the S&P and it hammer candled right at that uptrend line from the October lows. So,
yep.
Logical place to bounce, right?
These tops fail all the time, right? This is a reversal pattern. The underlying trend is still higher. I think Frank Capillari made some great points at Chart Summit yesterday about the difference of looking for a bullish pattern in a bull market versus a bearish pattern in a bull market, right? So it shouldn't be shocking if these little tops do fail, right? And
right.
The S&P, like you said, here's the short-term top. Still some work to do, right? To repair it. You want to really see.
Yeah, you know what? What's funny is this one held its trend line, but it hasn't quite reclaimed the neckline yet. Whereas the NASDAQ, that one broke its trend line, but it's reclaiming its neckline, right? So it's kind of like, what do you do with that?
Is this the trend line we're talking about here?
Off the October lows, the diagonal trend line.
Is that really a valid trend line? 2 touches, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
Fine. The more touches, the better, right? All right. So that everybody's looking for this seasonal low to, buy in the end of September, October. Everybody's a seasonal expert these days. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't. But if these pivot lows are reclaimed, S&P hooks back above. It's also the August highs from last year, this big 4,300 level. I think that's a tradable low. So we'll see. I think the way we close this week is going to be big.
Yeah, I really think that the next upside objective for the bulls is reclaiming and repairing those August 2022 highs. I mean, and those are also the August of this year's lows, right? So it just needs to repair that level. That's probably less than 1% away, but it needs to do that soon.
What's Wavy got?
Wavy has AROC.
First in the chat?
Yeah. Wavy showed up first today. So that is an oil field services company getting a nice pop in these last 2 days.
It's the ROC.
AROC, Arch Rock.
Ooh, HNRG. I know that one.
By the way, Steve, you can just type the ticker and it'll start populating?
I do. So
I didn't know that till we did the show, but it's a really handy trick if you use TradingView.
If you ask me, like, at the end of the day, why do I use TradingView so much? It's that. Like, I need that in my platform, especially
quick.
So quick.
Boom, boom.
See, when we do the
great with that too.
When we do the show, unfortunately, my computer lags like crazy to bring up this data for whatever reason. I think my computer's also just ready to blow up because of all decks and things I have open and video things I have open from our week this week. But typically, it's a lot faster than this, and it will be a lot faster if you go to TradingView. So, nice seeing Pierce at Chart Summit. Speaking of,
yeah,
big base, man.
Big base.
So this is what you said. This is
an oil field services company.
Is it now?
Yeah, it's about $2 billion in market cap. So not a huge one, but not tiny. Small, but not
4.7 yield.
What do you think of that?
It's a great base. It's a great base. Where do you get in is the question, right?
I was asking about the yield, but yeah, the base is looking good.
Here's the thing. I I am not the biggest fan of these high yielding companies, right?
Right.
Talk a lot.
I love getting you going on these.
Best dividend stocks tend to pay like the lowest dividends. But with that said, just because of what's going on in these industries, I was texting my friends and our colleagues this morning about ARLP. It's one of these, pipeline companies, or I guess it's not a pipeline company, but it would be the equivalent of like an LP or one of these midstreams, but for coal, pays a 12% yield.
Whoa.
My buddy's like, they're not going to be able to service that, are they? In this market, yeah, right. And I think that these energy companies, the oil and gas names, are the same way, and even the MLPs in oil and gas, like they have monster yields, 7, 8, 9, 10, double digits.
Yeah.
We're okay with rising oil prices. I don't think these are traps, which we do see so often with those big yields. Back to AROC, you got a clean shelf here, right? And we draw our support and resistance with crayons, not pens and pencils. So I'm just going to make that a monster zone. Also goes up and covers, I would say, even all the way up to 13 here, these pivot highs.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Right, there's just a lot of memory there. If I threw up a volume at price indicator, you would see it cluster around here. Let's get through here. I think you get confirmation above these 2018 highs around 1350. We're right there right now. Next stop, 1830.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of question.
It's a really nice base. Should we show the base? Let's show the base. Really good base. I like it. Do you like it?
I like it a lot. Yeah, that looks good. So let's go to PB from Dan. And again, this is one from the email.
PB.
PB.
Is that the good old Pitney Bowes?
Pitney Bowes.
Is it?
I believe so, yeah.
Still. Nope. Not anymore.
Prosperity Bank shares. Regional bank.
Mm-hmm. Oof. Not for me. This is an easy one. No. I don't like the banks here. I think these stocks stand to lose the most with interest rates continuing to rise. I mean,
You got a little bit of an RSI divergence there, but you know how those things can keep diverging for a while price hits new lows. So
here's
I
how
don't think you want to put too much stock in that. No
No,
pun intended.
I don't know. Something like that, right? So you got the top here. Massive distribution pattern began all the way back in 2021, just completed here after 2 years of topping, completed here during the banking crisis in Q1. This was March, the breakdown, right? And it's just continued sliding lower. It's now retraced 62%. I think you probably get a full 100. I would rather, if I'm doing anything with this stock, I'm shorting it.
Yeah. All right, let's get to Ivan's tickers. Again, he emailed us these CPR. We'll start with. And that is Campari. The alcohol.
Is it really?
I believe so. Yeah, I've never heard of this. Well, I've heard of the cocktail, but or the drink, but I haven't heard of.
Oh,
Didn't know it was public.
No, this is on the Milano exchange. That's not right.
Oh, okay. It does that.
Copart. No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't see a CPR, Pat.
Well, what do you think of that one anyway?
This is not on the U.S. exchange. What did the comment say?
I'm not sure there was a comment, but his other ticker was ZAL. We'll get to that one. Yeah, that one. These do not look like U.S. listed companies.
ZAL.
Yeah, these must not be U.S. listed. Anyway, sorry about that. We'll get to Hansen. He's got CLS. This one is one that's very close to new all-time highs.
And listen, for everybody, if you do to chart a stock that's not traded on the U.S. exchange, totally fine. Just call it out. We have that data and we're happy to do it. I don't know what happened there though.
Yeah.
This is Celestica. See,
Yeah, and I said all-time highs. That's wrong. It's hitting 20-year highs. So still working on those
how about this?
.com bubble.
Hey, nice, huh?
Yeah, if you zoom all the way out, nice one, right? So shout
Electronic,
out to Hanson, bringing the heat.
nice little mid cap here. Equipment manufacturers. Okay. So this one I already have charted out. So I guess I have heard of it before. Nice big old base. Just hit that first 161.8 fib. Love to see it. Name like this, you just want to look for a logical level to get long against, no?
Yeah,
So I would zoom in, right? This is the structure. You got this massive base breakout. I think, like you said, Pat, if we zoom out even more, it's an even bigger base, right?
yeah. I mean, I think you want to zoom out all the way. If you're looking for a level now, I think you want to zoom out all the way to the 2004 highs because that's what it's eclipsing in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, this is really a monster base, right? So I
Yeah,
stretch this out.
you might even have to use a monthly.
Yeah, but I'm going to want to drill in for the current level. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
No, I think tactically, you're going to want to
Yeah, I mean,
use some of
here,
those levels you just drew, but
here's the problem with zooming out too much, right? We're trading around 20 and change here today. And while there's not much price memory as you run back to these old highs from 2000, that's a quadruple, right? So you want,
right,
oh, where can you kind of feed the ducks along the way if this is a winner, right? I'm not going to
absolutely.
get long at 20 and I'll see you at 80. So let's zoom in. But I do think longer term, listen, if you're a long-term buy and hold guy and you want to just tuck this away for a while, sure, I think we probably get there if this trend keeps working. But you always want to drill in, get a little bit, pull up a more tactical chart to find an actionable level for a more intermediate term trade. There you go. Just use the pivot highs, right? Everything looks good with this one, right? If I dropped any
Yeah.
here, it'd be above all of them. You got these pivot highs. Looks like we're gunning for them right now. If you want to give yourself a little cushion, I like this level at the 161.8 because it's also the pivot highs from, I guess, late July, early August. So 22 on weakness and 24 and a quarter on strength. And then next target, use the 261. Like I said, unless you're going for 80, 3380 is your next fib. And look how it's reacted to this first fib here, right? At 22.
Yeah. All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, what do we got?
This one's a good one. I know you're going to like this one. It is, and what I also like about Joseph's request here, he emailed us this one, is he gave us a time frame. He said for a 1-year hold, how do you like PSX? That's Phillips 66. PSX.
Just talking about this.
Phillips?
Was Joseph not watching the hot corner?
It's possible.
We were just talking about Phillips. It's got these 2018 highs that I think
That
it's
is a nice chart.
right now. So let's pull up the weekly on this one. See, 2018 was a big year. It's when risk assets and mostly these commodity related assets peaked during the last cycle. So you see that level come up a lot. Here it is with Phillips. Comes in right around the current level at, say, 124, 123. Just draw it out. Real bullish momentum profile. That's really it. We'll fib that out here.
Very bullish momentum. I mean, if something's going to be hitting overbought like that, that's what you want to see. You want to see it holding, the 50-ish range, or at least not getting oversold.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is weekly momentum, but it hasn't dropped below 40 since 2020. 23 and 3/4, 123 and 3/4. So just about there with a target of 175. That's the first extension. But this is a great base.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're not a fan of trend lines, but I do like that you have a nice, well-defined trend line. If for no other reason, you don't have to lean on it for support, but it's telling you that on each kind of rejection along the way, buyers are getting more aggressive, and I like that.
Looks good. What's
If
next?
for nothing else, new higher lows, so that's decent there.
Yep.
So Wiley Zhu, I believe, I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. ASAN. And this is from the chat. We're getting to some from the chat now.
Dustin
Keep them
Moskovitz.
coming in the chat.
Dustin Moskovitz is the insider buying this one, Wiley. He is actually credited as a co-founder of Facebook, too. Fun fact. Left Facebook years ago, started Asana. Yes, he has been buying aggressively, but also he is a billionaire and a shareholder of the company. So don't want to overthink that insider buying. We've covered it for, going back a year now, probably on the hot corner. I don't know, Pat. Doesn't look so good, does it?
Yeah, I'm seeing for the last 6 months, I just looked up some of that insider activity. It's pretty much all coming from Dustin Moskovitz.
What do you use?
And in the last 6 months, 117 million to buy, 10 million to sell. So net, that's like 107 million.
He's a big buyer. I think it's a lot. A lot of it is now through the 10b5-1 plan because I don't see it.
What is that? What is
what?
The 10b5-1?
So that's when they plan their purchases, right? They don't want
okay.
any problems being accused of anything, insider this, insider that. They file a form with the SEC. Hey, I'm going to buy X amount of shares, this much a month for the next year. Then when they actually do it and they file the Form 4s, they check a little box or put a little footnote. This is in accordance with my plan. Already told you guys about it. Removes all the liability. Right. So
I see. Is there anything from a behavior point of view that's different from if they were just kind of buying this off the cuff?
Yeah, because sometimes, the best purchases are often when an executive or somebody goes to the open market because there's just something so good about their stock, whether it's sold off and it's just so cheap, they didn't have that plan, right? Or
Right.
new good news or a new,
You'd rather see that, is what you're saying.
They just go and open market buy without a 10b5-1. It really kind of stands out a little more. Look, this one just got oversold. Don't love that. Does look like it's trying to curl higher, but it's still really messy. I'm not really going to give you a level, right? Because it is in the base building process, but it's a rather weak base.
Yeah, I keep seeing a Head and Shoulders there inverse. So
speaking of breaking trend, it's like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't love it. I think it needs more time. Look, I'll start to get interested when we take out these year-to-date highs here around 25, 26. Right? And then maybe confirmation at the highs from last summer, which is more around 29. That's when I like this, but we're a long ways away from that. Over here, 18.
All right. Thank you for putting that on our radar, Wiley. So let's get to KD. KD has DVN. Devon Energy.
This was the best performer in the S&P 500 not long ago.
No kidding. What, like a year to date, but just over a 3-year period? What?
Oh, back in, I think it was 21 now. Might have been 20. Yeah, 2021, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's an eternity ago. We were still trading cryptos back then.
But more lately, right? More recently, this old leader, wow. Let's look at it off the COVID lows.
I mean, this thing at the COVID lows was trading at $4. Now it's 48.
Yeah.
What a move.
I
want to meet the guy that bought that bottom ticket.
I got it fibbed out here. Let's check it out.
I mean, you got a really, really clear level around 49, 48.
Yep. So that's if we drill in. When you fib this from its 2014 highs down to the COVID lows, listen, it doesn't look great, right?
I think pull up. You got momentum on there. I think that's a decent stick there. If
what
if you have momentum, yeah, in the lower pane there, that's a nice little divergence. It's not hitting oversold.
But here's the problem with this one, right? And you're talking about, I think, this little shelf of support here, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. So 46, right? We're right there. That has to hold. I think really you get a neckline here or a breakdown level of this top that's right around 50, but then it's hesitating to go, right? It's just kind of lollygagging around here at the breakdown level. Maybe it makes a save and repairs the damage. What don't I like about Devon, though? Like I said, former leader.
Well, and what is crude oil doing this week? with that kind of strength, you'd think that would be the catalyst, and it can't even really get off the ground with that.
What's the problem with Devon?
That to me is a red flag.
Well, you're kind of alluding to the point I'm trying to make, which is that energy stocks are red hot. Crude oil's been ripping, and here's Devon relative to its peer group. This is DVN relative to XLE. This is a nasty top, 200-day moving average. Now, indicating that the trend is lower. There's better stuff you could buy in the energy space. We're talking about Devon holding its pivot lows here, holding its range lows as like a bullish characteristic of the Devon chart. See these lows right here? Well, if we look at something like energy, we're talking about the range highs, right? So you could be buying breakouts in leaders above the pivot highs. Devon trading around its lows. No, I think there's better stuff out there.
All right. This one comes from Ryan Baxter, NFE.
That's another energy name, right? Yep.
New Fortress Energy, gas distributors.
Same problem. Guys, I love energy right now, but these are not the right names. Right? Let's buy the leaders. Increases our chances of winning and being right. You have great risk rewards with a lot of charts breaking out. Go watch the Hot Corner. We went through like 15 of our favorite energy names today. No, downward sloping 200-day moving average, momentum in a bearish regime, right? Getting oversold, not getting overbought on advances. Maybe you have some sort of a base shaping up here. Right here, Pat, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's tough to call it. And I think the bigger point, that you made with the last one about it just not performing well with the strength and energy, showing that relative weakness, that's a big red flag.
Here are the kinds of energy stocks we're looking to buy right now. This is ExxonMobil, the biggest one. New highs, breaking out of a well-defined level, momentum, bullish regime. These are the kinds of names we want, right? And looking at services. XES, go look at those components. Services are really the leadership area right now. I'll bet you the E&Ps play some catch up. They're usually pretty good during bull markets for energy. But I don't like this NFE.
All right. So I believe this might be my friend Matt Riley. If it is, shout out to Matt. But he's got three, and we got to pick the best one, okay? ACMR, PWR, and CBOE. I already know which one I think you're going to go with.
I'm looking at them. I'm looking at them by myself right now. ACMR, PWR.
Yeah.
Nope, not that one. What's the other?
CBOE.
Listen, I know what you think I'm going to pick. Yeah. Look, SIBO's a good stuff. We'll do SIBO.
That is a nice base there.
I like SIBO. Yeah, we got to talk about it. JC likes this one too. Look at the bullish momentum regime here. Beautiful.
I didn't realize the breakout had already been underway for that long. I saw a chart of this recently, but I thought it was just starting to break out.
And think about what most financials look like right now, Pat. Right? Like most financial stocks are a disaster these days. Then we have SIBO. Guys, and I apologize for the slowness today. We're going to get this figured out for the future. Like I said, this is probably all my fault. I have way too much stuff open and going on. But my apologies, because it's driving me crazy. I can't imagine the people who are watching.
So it's been an interesting area within financials, though. We covered this in our top 10 is insurance stocks. Those have been showing some decent relative strength. You look at KIE or IAK, those are, pressing up near their all-time highs.
This is a broker-dealer, or really an exchange. Right. This is capital markets. But yeah, in insurance, that they are typically lower beta, right? And they do lead during periods of weakness for financials. During bull markets, it's more the beta plays like the banks and some of these capital market type firms. But SIBO and Interactive Brokers have actually looked more like insurance companies, right? While the rest of the space is struggling, you just see SIBO and Interactive breaking out of these massive bases. And they're legging higher. I mean, really nice follow through here. SIBO looks better than Interactive these days. I was looking at the Interactive chart the other day, like, damn, I wish I bought SIBO. I'm just kidding. Broke.
Yeah, I mean that one's kind of failing a little bit. It broke out above that 90 level and then kind of gave it back.
Yeah.
Hasn't really, melted down yet, but
It still looks good. It's holding the bigger base breakout, but it doesn't look like SIBO just made new highs.
right.
Look, for me, it's 138, or if you want to be a little tighter, as a stop, maybe 141 here, right? The pivot highs from May. But we're already well on our way to that first Fibonacci, which doesn't come until around like 179, 180. So the risk reward is no good right here. This is more a situation of if you're already long, good for you, stay long. But I don't know, getting involved
Yeah,
here.
those long-term breakouts, once they start going, it can be really hard to get involved because it's just this kind of slow, steady bleed up. You know what I'm saying?
Point. Typically, you would have to look for some sort of continuation pattern, like hope to get like a high and tight flag, right? A nice little coil that you can use to enter on. I think I had something like that going on just right here, right?
Yeah, that would be a decent place.
So I guess if you're just jonesing to get some SIBO in your life, you could do something like this, right? Another strategy, right, Pat, for a situation like this is use the VWAP, but it looks to me like we're already above it here. So you could anchor a WAP right there, or a VWAP, right? Already right there. There you go. Something like that. For you short-term, more tactical folks out there.
Okay. Yeah, I know you love your bull flags there. And that certainly looks like one.
Who doesn't love a bull flag?
Right. Nice little continuation pattern. So what about AJG? Speaking of these just steady movers that are kind of hard to get involved with, even though they're really nice trends.
Arthur Gallagher.
Are you familiar with this one?
Yeah, this is a big, I believe, property and casualty, right?
Yeah. Insurance brokerage, third-party claims and settlement.
Is this
Say that again?
I'm seeing if it's reinsurance.
What is reinsurance really? It might be a stupid question, but is that when they kind of
They insure the insurers.
okay, yeah, yeah, I see.
Look at this uptrend. This is what
But that goes back to what I was saying before about how some of these steady movers, some of the nicest trends, they're really hard to get involved because
you buy this.
What's that?
Where do you buy this?
Right. You have to buy it during overall market sell-offs, right? So, and those are environments where it's really tough to press the buy button on anything. We're talking about some of the best buys were during the biggest market panics when the broader market's panicking, right? I would say probably a stock like this is a decent one to keep on your shopping list when we do have those risk off days. What do you think about that?
I just don't know where you get involved here. This is a tough one. It's kind of like slowly grinding higher. Momentum's waning. I hate the momentum here. I don't know. I think this to me looks vulnerable, right? You could call this some sort of a rising wedge or something, draw it in a couple different ways. But what it's illustrating is that momentum is waning. We're not even getting overbought, right? As we make new highs, I could draw a nasty divergence there too.
Look at that. Back in March, April, it went 16 out of 17 days. Just absolutely ripped.
Yeah, look at that. No, I don't love this. This one's tough to get behind this one now after it's been working for so long.
Yeah. All right. So let's do from Joseph SMHI. Or SMHI.
Secor Marine Holdings. How big?
It is very small. 370 million. Do you want to look at this one?
We'd like to keep it to $1 billion or at least close to $1 billion. But let's just do it real quick. Big base shaping up here. Real big base. Working its way higher from it.
Ooh, I got another energy stock for you. You ready for it?
Hold on. and you got a big level here. Like 1250, just took it out. I don't know. Maybe you run it back to those old highs, 25. It's a tiny stock. It's going to move on you. It's a nice chart. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really key level. The only other resistance I see is right where your cursor is, around 25.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a double.
All right. What do you got?
All right. HNRG, Hallador Energy Company. And that is a coal company.
I know
Your
exactly.
favorite.
I know what it is.
It's another small one. It's half a billion. Less
That's-
than that. 474 million.
It's coal. We could break the rules a little bit. So
Okay, all right.
right. HNRG, shout out to our intern Sam. Drop this one in the chat, I think today or last night. We have the best team, so everybody's always just sending awesome charts. Zoomed way out and showed this monster base. He zoomed out even further than I'm going to. But it gets pretty thinly traded when you zoom out too far on this one. So let's just keep it to right here. Got this shelf of resistance. This is the breakout level, and this thing is going for it. I mean, right here, right now, coal stocks are so hot. 14, buy this breakout all day. Let's measure this out. And we're going to end with this one because we've already gone 5 minutes over and we have other shows. Ooh. And I'm exhausted from this week. I don't know about you, but I last time I've done so much video in one.
Yeah, you've had quite the week too.
So yeah, 14, fine. Very buyable right here if you have a long enough time frame, right? Sure, these coal stocks are extended over the short term. They have just been so resilient. It's what Sean refers to as a hard trade. When you feel like you're chasing, it's a hard trade, but sometimes they're the best. So I would not let the relative strength scare you away from this group right now. Instead, I would be looking for ways to get in. Like Pat was saying, these are going to be tough ones. You're going to have to look for these high and tight flags and coils. We're above 14 all day. HNRG, next stop 22, and from there 35. Look at the momentum here. Look at the weekly momentum, Pat. And then
I mean, coal has just been incredible. And real quick, so one of our friends watching this, Matt Riley, he a few years ago, he asked me what I thought about BTU, and I kind of scoffed at it. It was in the single digits. I think it was actually around $3 a share. BTU, and you know how that trade ends, right?
I'm currently long like 3 different call contracts in BTU, so I've been having a great week, and I'm a huge fan of Peabody these days. But yeah, it's the big one. I would say it's the industry leader in coal.
Now, with all these coal ETFs coming back, does that tell you anything from a sentiment point of view, or are you worried that this trade is getting too popular?
Yeah, way too many people are talking about coal.
But are they actually trading it? You know, is it one of those scenarios where?
No, listen, it has legs, but it's going to need to breathe every now and then. These stocks have just been like every day. BTU has been a laggard, but let's talk about it quick. Right, I have 2 key VWAP levels. This is how I've been looking at it. Got the VWAP from the 2022 April and November highs. Took them out. Could draw a little trend line here, right? So while we are in a range, clearly the shorter term trend is reversing. So I think next stop, upper bounds of that range, 32.
That's still a nice move.
So I'll take some off the table. I think I'm in October calls, so those will probably come off today or tomorrow. But then I have others out in January and I think the summer of next year, which I'm going to hold and look for a move back to the upper bounds of this range. I think BTU also has some serious catch-up to play to other names. For example, let's look at some other coal names. This is CEIX. Looks a lot different. AMR.
Wow, CEIX, that one's a ripper.
And then even something like Arch Coal, which is another pretty popular name. There's AMR. Arch, while not as strong as CEIX and AMR, back at the upper bounds of that range at least, right? Which is where I think BTU is going.
Yeah, I like that. I think Arch might be my favorite of those in terms of like if you had to get involved with coal today, that one looks like the most ready to actually break out.
Yep. You could draw it in a number of different ways, but back towards those range highs, right?
Ooh, that's a nice one.
Yeah. These charts look good. All right, Pat. That's all we got for today.
All right. Well, thank you guys. If we didn't get to any of them, just be sure to email us at questions@stockmarketmedia.com, and JC will get to them on Tuesday.
All right, Pat. Thanks for joining, everybody, and have a great weekend.
Cheers.